Hi, my name is Andrea Brassard, and you typically see me sitting in the choir. I wanted to share with you about finding love at Wacomico Presbyterian Church. I came to Wacomico Presbyterian Church last year, probably about this time, and I wasn't really in a good place because I had moved to Ocean Pines about a year earlier, and I hadn't found a church. Well, it was COVID too. But I moved here from Bowie, where my husband had been pastor of Christian Community Presbyterian Church, and when he was 63, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor and died pretty quickly and didn't get a chance to retire. And it was very tough, of course, on me, and it was very tough on the church. And typically, when the pastor retires or dies, the family leaves. We didn't have church-owned housing. We had our own house, but I sold that. And I moved down to Ocean Pines. I teach for the University of Maryland, and one of my colleagues lives in this community called The Park. And this was all still kind of during COVID, so I was teaching remotely, so it was a good move. So I didn't really look for a church for a while. I was content watching a church. A New Jersey colleague of my husband's had a really nice online service. He's really a tech guy. This is a First Presbyterian Church of Englewood, New Jersey, northern New Jersey. And so I would listen to their 9 o'clock contemporary service, and he's a good preacher. But then I thought, I really need to start looking for a church because I missed it. So I went to a couple churches, and I am a lifelong Presbyterian. And people were really happy to see me. In fact, they were too happy to see me. When they heard I was a minister's wife, they were like ready to set me up to run the Sunday school. So, but the other thing about church shopping is I'm really picky about preaching. My husband was just a wonderful preacher, and I'm kind of picky about music too, but preaching is the number one thing. And I continued to search and came across Wacomico Presbyterian Church website and listened into a couple services, and I was impressed with Pastor Maggie's preaching. She preaches. She preaches from her heart. It's so biblically based. It's clear. It's a message. It's a message that you can take with you. And in fact, what I love now is that the bulletins tell you what to work on during the week. So it's been great. And I happen to sit. I always kind of sit towards the front, and I happen to sit by another woman, Diane Bissell, who was just lovely. And one day I asked her, have you been in the church a long time? And she said, no. And it turns out she started coming around the same time I did. And so we both checked the box to be inquirers, and we went to the inquirers class. And I learned that Diane, like me, had lost her husband recently. He had another serious illness that went suddenly. And we had just a lovely inquirers class. So I remember asking Kathy Vale and Becky, who also live in Ocean Pines, do you want to go boating? So we went out boating, which was so much fun because they are so skilled. But what I really wanted to share with you today is how much I love the choir. Susan Zimmer was so welcoming. John Allen. welcoming, and I get to sit next to Patty, and she's filled me in on everyone, and she's funny. And the choir has been welcoming, but not over, so it's just been a nice, smooth transition. The music is great. Everyone is friendly, but not overly friendly. And I continue to love Pastor Maggie's preaching. So that's my story of finding love at WPC.